In this third section, which is my academic reflection, I'd like to talk about segmentation. Now, segmentation has been a buzz for marketers and marketing theorists for a very long time. But even as someone who's exposed to segmentation in his everyday life, like for example yesterday when I was trying to pick out a face wash and I picked out the Nivea face wash for men, I couldn't point out particular reasons why companies segment their products and markets. There are those obvious reasons, for example having products for men and for women, but I wanted to understand what advantages does segmentation bring to the companies. While going through marketing literature, I came across Jobber and Chadwick's Principles and Practices of Marketing. In this book, they have identified 4 main reasons behind market segmentation. Let's discuss these reasons briefly before we move forward. In many ways, selection of a target market is the most crucial element for successful implementation of marketing strategy. In an unsegmented market, for example, the opportunity for new companies and for innovation by existing players will be virtually impossible. There was a time when Henry Ford could go to the market with one product in one color, but modern markets and the modern consumer no longer accept such undifferentiated marketing mix, which is why tailoring the marketing mix is an intuitive reason to segment the market. Segmentation also helps companies to identify scope for differentiation in the market, which in turn could enable them to sustain a competitive advantage in that market. Take Samsung's domination in the Indian mobile phone market. By launching good quality Android phones in every price range segment, Samsung was able to establish a monarchy in the low to mid price range segments, which it held for a very long time. Sometimes segmentation can bring out hidden opportunities and threats in existing as well as potential markets. A good example of this was found in an article written by Pankaj Ghemawat, who's a leading scholar on globalization. He commented on a research done by Yum Foods in trying to identify the next market. And in this research, which can also be called a process of segmentation, the company found that it would be more profitable to start operations in Mexico as opposed to starting in Japan, as it was previously understood. Having established that segmentation is good for business and having looked at some reasons why companies segment their offerings, let's look at different kinds of segmentation. Today, I'll focus on 2 kinds of segmentation: geographic segmentation and demographic segmentation. But before I do that, I want to set the context of the discussion going forward. To understand the 2 kinds of segmentations, I'm going to use India as a centerpiece to hinge my discussion on. As a developing economy, India is a huge market and almost every company wants to have some kind of presence in India. Much like other developing countries, India continues to be very price sensitive, but there is an upward shift of buyers and rapid capitalism in rural economies. India is seeing a rise of a very different kind of a consumer. Some scholars call it the rurban consumer, which essentially is a rural consumer which has urban consumption patterns. Having established the context, now I'm going to talk about 2 kinds of segmentation: geographic segmentation and demographic segmentation. By adapting its marketing mix, either by tailoring products or prices to fit the local consumers, McDonald's has championed geographic segmentation. However, India posed a very different challenge. Religious, cultural, and even infrastructural sensitivities mandated a completely new marketing mix for McDonald's in India. Let's look at this in detail. McDonald's most selling product globally, the McDonald's Big Mac, virtually had no market in India. Beef is considered sacred to the Hindu community, whereas the Muslim community does not eat pork. Furthermore, 40 to 45% of Indian population was vegetarian. These factors forced McDonald's to alter its product offerings. It not only had to alter the products, but it also had to alter the way it ran its shops. So McDonald's in India have different layouts for vegetarian and non-vegetarian items. In order to appeal to the price-sensitive Indian consumers, McDonald's created a happy price menu in which products were priced at only 20 rupees, comparative to that of a street snack, but with the promise of hygiene and quality. Unlike many other countries, food is much more a family affair in India, which is why McDonald's added family restaurant to its store branding in India. But McDonald's in India has also become a place where friends hang out and where couples go on dates, which is why McDonald's now has changed its promotion to fit the new image. In deciding how to do business in India, McDonald's made an interesting choice. Instead of going for the traditional franchisee model that it follows all across the world, McDonald's decided to give all stores in India to two main companies, one operating in the north and the east and the other operating in the south and the west. Now, the interesting thing with this decision is that in the south and the west, McDonald's is halal, and in the north and the east, it is not halal. Now, halal is a kind of a meat cut which Muslims can eat. If we look at this map of Muslim population in India, we can see that the Muslims are concentrated in the north and the east and not so concentrated in the south and the west. However, Muslims are traditionally more economically sound in the south and the west as compared to in the north and the east, which could be one reason why McDonald's has this interesting internal demographic situation within India. Second kind of segmentation I'd like to discuss today is demographic segmentation. While I will stick my discussion to India, I will focus it on Unilever and how Unilever has done demographic segmentation within India. As mentioned earlier, India is seeing the rise of a very interesting consumer, the urban consumer. This is a kind of a consumer which is in rural setting but has urban consumption patterns. And keeping this in mind, Unilever started a brilliant campaign in the states of Jharkhand and Bihar, which not only are densely populated North Indian states, but also are a very important market for Unilever. These states also contain a vast concentration of this urban consumer within India.
Bihar and Jharkhand gave us no way to communicate with them, except for one thing, their mobile phone. We transformed this rudimentary piece of technology they already have into the only constant and reliable medium of entertainment in town. The Kankajura station, a radio station in a mobile phone that works very simply. You make a missed call to a number, and a few seconds later you receive a call back, with 15 minutes of free entertainment and, of course, advertising from all our brands.
एक्सेल बार अब लक्स साबुन में छुपी जिंक माउथ वॉश के साथ आप लिसनिंग क्रीट बचत लेकिन दाम अलग.
Important market for Unilever's growth in India. During the first weeks, we received 150,000 calls each day. In just 6 months, the Kankajura station is already the largest media channel in Bihar and Jharkhand. With 24 million calls and 8 million unique users.
While the Kankajura station is a very good example of region or state-wise demographic segmentation, this next example from Unilever is a classic case of gender-based demographic segmentation. Now, fairness creams have been huge in India for a very long time. But recently, a market for men's fairness cream was discovered. Although Unilever lost the first mover advantage, it caught up very quickly. By launching a product and by making an actor and a sportsman the face of this product, Unilever was able to establish a universal image for its product in the eyes of the Indian consumer. A reason for this is that more and more men could associate with this dual image of the product, that of a rugged sportsperson and of a polished actor.